Welcome to Books and Things. And today's guest is Jim Friedlander. And Jim has written a book in historical fiction. Very interesting. I thought it was very interesting. Welcome, Jim. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Looking forward to this.
I read the book, and you do pay attention to history.
Yeah, I really enjoy history. That was an interest in college, and I still read a lot of history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I enjoy the backstory and finding out what really happened and the characters involved. There's always a lot more than, most people know unless they really delve into it.
I'm the same way. I love history. That's why I wrote my book, Mystic in the 50s. And because it triggers your mind so that you remember things. Like in your book, of course, I was never a slave, but you read things and you say, oh my gosh, I remember reading something about that. And what made you write the stories that you wrote?
Well, I've always been really interested in American history in particular, and it's just American history is so complex, and there's so many veins really that go through it, and all of those, what you would call, I guess, what I would call veins that go through it. In other words, parts of history, they're all so much more involved than that most people understand, most Americans understand, I think, unless they're really interested in history and really delve into it. Yeah. So when I started writing the book, actually, it was not going to be what it turned out to be. Matter of fact, when I started writing it, I wasn't even sure where it was going to go. I just started writing, and I wrote an introduction, which it turned out I actually canned. I did not use it. Yeah. But as I started to write it, this story started to come, and that's just kind of the way I work. I know some authors like to plan out the whole story. It's certainly a lot easier if you know exactly where the story is going, but my mind just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I hear you.
So anyway, as I started thinking about writing about a young boy who was a slave, I started creating his background, and then my wife and I traveled in the South, and we went to a place called Kingsley Plantation, which is in northern Florida, and that was very interesting because I learned there that plantation had actually been run by a black woman who was the wife of the owner. She was a slave, and then he married her, and then he left, and she actually ran the plantation. That was when Florida was still part of Spain. Huh. And once it became part of the United States, that became illegal, and so they had to vacate. But, I just started thinking about how complicated the story of slavery is and was. And so then I just started using my imagination to create the story that I came up with.
Well, it's interesting because, like we were talking about General Lee, and there's other stories behind that. It wasn't just that he was a general, and he wasn't actually a general because he graduated from, I think, West Point.
West Point, right.
But he wasn't a general, he just was a soldier.
Yeah.
And so, but these little things that you learn, and if you're interested, and there's so much out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have another member of the Kappa group that wrote a book called The Slave, oh Lord, The Slave Something's Wife. Mm-hmm. He was out chasing slaves.
Okay, yep.
He married one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Great story.
Was that based on historical fact? It was.
Actually, it was out of Tennessee or someplace, some city down there. And he actually went down there and studied the area and the way they spoke and everything, and went back in the days because he's a history teacher.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So he had to have all the facts.
Right, yeah.
And but again, the interesting thing is these are things that you don't think about.
You don't run across it, just, no,
No, a
unless you
slave
actually-
driver, who cares?
Yeah, yeah,
And it's,
yeah.
and they when they go out chasing after a slave, the slave is either going to come back alive or dead.
Yeah, and if they came back alive, a very good chance that they were going to be killed afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you really had sympathy for the people because they are people.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
and I don't want to get into the racial thing. But anyway, the book is very good.
Thank you.
Very, very good.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're from Mystic.
Yep, I am. Yep.
Yeah.
And I grew up, my parents moved here when I was 2.
Really?
Yeah, so spent my youth in Mystic and hanging out on the Mystic River.
Misspent youth.
Yeah. We don't want to get into that.
I can't think of any better town to grow up in.
Yeah,
Mystic.
no, it was great. It was a great town.
Yeah, because everybody knew everybody, and
Yep,
it's just, it was a great town.
it was.
A lot
it was
different
of fun.
today.
A lot different, yeah. Yeah, it seems like it was more for local people than, it was a place where you could go downtown and do your
And you
shopping.
didn't have to go anywhere else.
No.
Everything was down there.
Yeah.
Theater, the clothes, the food, and drugstores, and there was nothing you needed outside of Mystic.
Basically, yeah.
And that's why
yeah.
my mother and father never drove. They went downtown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, things have changed.
Until I drove, then I had to go for everything for. Oh, let's go to Westerly. No. But now, is this your first book?
Yeah, this is my first book, and so I finished the book, and as you know, having written a book, it's a long ways between finishing the writing of the book and getting it published. You have to do a lot of proofreading, and so I read it. My wife read it. I don't know how many times. Friends read it. And then I had an editor, and she ran it. She read it at least a couple of times, and then of course, then we had to do the layout work. I had to find the material, the painting that I used for the book cover, which is from the Colonial Williamsburg collection, and then we had to get it formatted to fit the book. So the person, Dan Whitty, that did the layout work, he helped me out a lot with that.
It's a great picture.
It's a wonderful picture, and it's a very interesting picture too, because, well, actually, you can find it on the internet, and if you go to the Colonial Williamsburg site, if you go in their art collection, you'll find this painting, and it will tell you about how really authentic the painting is. This painting was done. They believe it was done by the plantation owner, where this
And it also wraps around to the back.
right. The plantation owner where this painting was done, and the instruments that are shown in it, and the dress and all, are really authentic for the time. The instruments are basically, they're African instruments. They aren't American instruments. They're instruments that the slaves would have made here, but they were basically African instruments.
Well, I'll be darned.
And the dance, the kind of dance that they're doing is an African dance, even though their dress is somewhat Western. It's not exactly Western either. It's been modified to be more like the dress they would have worn when they were in Africa. So from that standpoint, I said, I got to have this painting. I got to have this for a cover.
It's a gorgeous cover.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you have to pay for it?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but I was glad to do it because I just thought it's just, really a real added bonus to the book.
Yeah. Do you have any book signings coming up?
I don't actually. I'm looking to do some, and hopefully there will be some. I have one in Florida. My wife and I go to Florida in the winter, and I do have one at the library down there on Pine Island this winter. But that's the only one. So I'm working on trying to line some more up.
The church in Mystic is doing one. I don't know if they got any room left.
Which church is that?
Baptist.
Oh, the Baptist church, really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
on the 16th. I got in, and they said there was only room for one or two more. Jim Bennett got in, and
Who would I contact about that?
I'll send you her name.
Okay, that'd be wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to organize some things with the local libraries, and I'll continue to do that. But it's one thing to write a book, but it's a different thing to get the book out there and
Well,
let the
I
public
always-
know that it's there.
I love to listen to people say, "Oh, I'm going to get published," and I'm not going to have to work. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
Like you say, the steps
when
to
it
getting it
starts.
published.
Yeah.
And I'm like you. Everybody read my book, had it published, and still found mistakes.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
And I have a friend
Yeah.
of mine, and she says, "I'll go through it for you." And she did. I said, "I don't want anything changed. Just make corrections." And she came back with 20 or 30 comments.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
And I said, "Oh my God, I
Yeah.
didn't know about those."
Yeah, I think you could go through a book 100 times.
Well, even professionals.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and if you go to a professional publisher, it's edited, it's sent to another editor, and then back to the first editor, and then back to the second again. It goes like 3 times.
Yeah, yeah.
And they keep finding more.
It's easy to miss things. I mean,
Well, it
I
is.
give editors a tremendous amount of credit, good ones.
You're the
because
worst editor.
I'm the worst,
And
absolutely.
your wife is probably second worst.
Yeah, yeah. She's a lot better than I am.
Because
but
she
yeah.
knows what you wrote.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing, you can look at "the" and it's spelt wrong, and you look at that word 15 times,
right
it still
by it.
looks right.
Exactly. Yeah,
But it's very, very difficult. And then trying to get out there and push it.
yeah.
Uh,
So anyway, while I was waiting for this book to be published, then I started working on another book because there was such a big gap in there.
Yeah.
So and that one has just been published. It's now available on Amazon and Kindle, and hopefully it'll be available at Bank Square Books. This book is available at Bank Square Books now, and hopefully
Okay.
The Wall will be soon.
Are you in Wesley too?
I'm not. I'm just in the Mystic one for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But that one's called The Wall, and it's typical, or I should say topical. It's more current than this one.
And is it again historical fiction?
It isn't. It's
Oh,
it's
not?
it's a satire.
Oh.
It's political satire, and it has a lot to do with the current state of things,
I see.
and thus the name The Wall.
Well, I have the Mexicans pay for that one.
Maybe they'll buy copies of it.
Sell copies and build a wall.
Yeah.
I find books and writing so interesting because being here in this position, I get to interview so many authors. I get to read so many books, and 90% of them are very, very good.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of local talent.
There is,
Yeah.
and the only thing that's stuck here is that we can't seem to get beyond.
It's hard. It
The,
is
state of
really
Connecticut,
hard.
yeah.
I know. And then, so you'll read a book that's maybe on the New York Times bestseller list, and you go, this,
Yeah,
how'd this get there?
Mine's better than that.
Yeah.
But you just
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's really, really hard. The fun part is writing them, and the hard part is getting them out there.
and if you're doing it to make money, forget it.
Forget it. Don't do that.
That doesn't happen.
Don't do it. Don't even start, because you
No.
might as well buy Powerball tickets. Your chances are
chance,
probably
yeah.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. No, you have to do it because
The
you
number
really
of
enjoy
hours
it.
that, how long did it take you to put that together?
At least 4 years.
Really?
Yeah. And the second one, The Wall, which is shorter than this, and really was simpler to write because I had a really good idea where it was going.
yeah.
That one probably took, from beginning to end, probably 2.5 years.
Really?
And the one that I'm working on now, that one has been coming up on a year, and I'm a long ways from done. I probably got at least another year and a half of writing, and then who knows?
It's a lot of time. You'll never,
Yeah.
you'll never get paid for it.
No, I know, but
All you
I
can do is
enjoy it.
Hope and pray you sell enough books to pay for the books.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
My first book, 10 years to write.
Wow.
And that was because I was in depression. And the second book took me, The Mystic in the 1950s. I think that took me about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And that was, everything was up here already. So
Yeah.
it was just a matter of
That's-
checking some of the things.
Right.
And but the other one, 10 years,
Yeah.
that was about my son. And I just couldn't put two words together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, but it took, I started 3 years after he died, then 6 years, and then 9 years, and the 10th year I put the last chapter in. And it still sells very well.
Yeah, that's great.
And that was
Yeah.
2004.
Wow.
So people say, if you get a book published and they stop selling in 3 months, and the book is
Right.
and it goes to Walmart or somebody
Right.
else and half
Yeah.
prices and things, which I totally disagree with because my book still sells.
Yeah.
And a lot of the local people, the books will still sell no matter what year it is.
I think it just, you have to just keep pushing it out there, and
Yeah.
you'll keep finding people that haven't seen it, didn't know about it.
I read someplace, your book stops selling when you do. And that's
Yeah.
about right.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's constant. It's
Yeah.
really constant. You just have to stay on top of it.
But we'll have to get you some more book signings.
Yeah.
And I'll send you the information on that
I'd
church.
appreciate that. That would be great. Yeah.
See if they got a little extra space.
Okay.
Because I didn't send it out to everybody because I got it late.
Yeah.
And they were almost full. I had written to them. They said, we got 2 spots left, and I took one.
Yeah. No, I didn't hear about it. Yeah.
And then Jim took the other one. So I'll have to check with him.
Okay. That would be great. I appreciate that.
And if not, you can come up and see us on the 16th, up at the church, top of
Good.
the hill.
Yeah.
And we're putting a flyer out here to get people to come see it. And then I've got I'm going to do a talk on my 50s book at the Academy of Mystic. Is that what it's called? Academy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Academy of Mystic.
Academy. I forget, but I know where you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll mention to her that you'd be willing to get out and talk to her.
I would be, sure. Yeah.
I don't know how many
Yeah.
books you sell. I did it once before, and I think I sold 2 or 3 books.
That's
I
part
don't
of-
care.
Yeah.
I just want to be in front of people, let them know that's there. And maybe buy one for Christmas or something. You know?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what it is. You just need exposure.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
nobody knows who you are until
Yeah.
nobody tells you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's nice to find a reading audience.
Yeah.
If you can get in front of people who really love books, then
Yeah.
then maybe you can sell some. Otherwise, it's pretty
Yeah,
tough.
because these people, today is,
There's so many other opportunities
Yeah.
to stay entertained that it's, yeah. But I mean, a lot of people do read, so.
they do.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, like Mystic Bank Square Books, she sells a lot of books.
Yeah, they do
She
well
must
in there.
because
Yeah.
she's busy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then she's got the second place in Westerly.
Yeah. I don't know how that's doing. I guess it's okay. I don't know. It's a nice shop.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I got my books over there. That took a while for me to get her to put them in there.
Yeah.
And they're probably not doing well because I haven't heard from new orders. I got to go over and see them.
Yeah. Yep. I've got to
Was-
get down to Bank Square Books and talk
Yeah.
to them and hopefully get them to take the new book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's nice.
Oh yeah, they're really nice people
They're-
down
yeah.
there.
Because I think Annie's the only one now.
She's the only one. Yeah, the
Yeah.
others are retired.
Yeah. And good for her.
Yeah.
But it's a nice place. It's beautiful. She expanded into the second section. And so you're retired?
Yep, I'm
Right.
retired, and that's given me more time to
Yeah.
get into writing, which has been great. Because when I was working, working full time, there just wasn't time
Yeah.
for it. It's just too
And
frustrating.
you come home, you go, I got to write some stuff. Next
Yeah,
thing you
no,
know,
I
you're
don't.
nodding off.
I don't even try to write at night. I write in the morning, and maybe up till noon or so, and and after that, you gotta get up. You get too nervous, and get jittery sitting there. I've always, my job was fairly active, so.
What did you do?
I did, well, I did a bunch of things. So most of my life, I was a carpenter.
Ah,
And then I taught school for 5 years, taught elementary school.
yeah.
And then I was the maid on the Brilliant for a year at the Mystic Seaport.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, that was
So
interesting.
that was interesting, yeah.
You
Yeah.
could write about that.
I could. There'd be a lot of stories there.
And probably some that shouldn't be told.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And it's amazing. I knew your brother so long ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
It's a small world.
And most people that grew up around Mystic know a lot
Yeah.
of the same people.
Oh, yeah. It was a great town.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
And, so now it's just you and your wife, or you have...
No, we have a daughter who lives in Washington, and she's got 2 little boys.
Oh, really?
So I've got 2 grandchildren, which is wonderful.
Ah.
Yeah, we're really enjoying them.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great.
How'd she end up in Washington?
She had a friend who was staying down there, and so she went down to visit, and just
Liked it.
decided she liked it. Yeah, it's a great place for people her age, in their
Yeah.
early 30s, late 20s, well, she's almost mid 30s now, and there's a lot of young professionals down there, so they've got a lot of friends that are in the same situation as them with 2 young kids. So yeah, it's great for them. It really works
cool.
out. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's a little alien to me, being kind of a country boy, but I guess I can see their standpoint.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've lived in Mystic so long that
Yeah,
you're getting Mystic's too busy now.
yeah. I lived in the city. I went to film school when I got out of college, and in Toronto, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed being in Toronto, but as a place to live permanently,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that.
If you want one of Jim's books, you can either, I think he's got an email site up there.
I do.
There it is. And email him or
Yep.
email me, we'll get you a book. Or go down to Bank Square Books and demand one. Ask for one.
Right.
That's how we're gonna
Yeah,
do it.
that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Or go to,
And I'd love to hear
Savoy
back.
in Westerly and say, what do you mean you're not having
Yeah,
a book?"
really. That would be be
Yeah.
good too. But
Yeah.
and I'd love to hear from people. Anybody who reads the book,
Yeah.
I would love to hear from you. So email me and let me
Yeah.
know what you thought. And then it's on Amazon and Kindle too. So and you can write reviews there. We're always
Oh,
looking.
that's right.
Yeah.
I should write one.
Yep. It's available there. But if you're local, I'd love to have people get onto Bank Square and buy from the local dealer. I think that's definitely good to support them.
Yeah, because with all this Amazon stuff, Amazon's just going nuts.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know
is.
what in the world
It
they're
is. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of 2 minds about that. But the thing that they do offer is they offer a way for people to get published,
Yes.
without seeking a large commercial publisher, which is, as you know, is really, really difficult and can take
Yeah.
years. And what you get out of that is questionable too, because they're still going to want you to go out and promote your book.
Absolutely.
So-
But Amazon has that create space so you can get the book printed.
Yes.
And they'll do anything for you as long as you pay.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah.
But but with people like Dan and the guy that I use, Richard, you don't have to do anything because they do it for you.
Yeah.
And otherwise, why they charge an arm and a leg?
Yeah. No, Dan's great, and
Yeah.
it's something that he's very good with computers, and that's not
All
my
right, we've
forte.
got a couple of minutes to go. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I could just talk about the book a little bit. So there are actually 3 parts to the book. There's 3 stories, and they're all connected because they're all about the same family, but it's 3 generations of the same family. So it's each generation looking for their own concept of freedom. And the first generation is actually escaping from slavery, and the second generation is escaping from bigotry and being stuck in a kind of a dead-end job.
Yeah.
And the third generation is a person. The third generation is he's a jazz musician.
Yeah.
And starts out in Chicago, and then at the end of the book he goes to New York, and he's looking for really. He's doing very well in terms of his career, but he's struggling with other personal issues, and so they're all struggling with their own search for freedom in their own way, and that's really what the theme of the book is.
You got to do a sequel, though.
I probably will do a sequel because a lot of people have said, we want to know what happens to these generations.
You get into these people, you go, what?
Yeah.
Where's it going now?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but you got them hooked.
Hopefully, I got them hooked, and searches don't always find an ending. A lot of times, searches are about the search.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But
so that's kind of what I was pushing for.
Yeah.
But I know people really want or need a resolution. So.
But you got other books to write too. So
I've got other books, yeah. So that will be down the road a ways. Yeah. That'll be right now. I'm pretty involved in this other book, which takes place a little bit later than this one. Not too much, but a little bit. It takes place after the Civil War.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to get into that one too much because it's. If anybody gets interested and starts to bug me, I'll say, well, it's still a lot, you're going to have to wait a couple of years.
Well, anyway. It's been interesting, and I appreciate you gave me the book, and I read the whole thing, and I really enjoyed it.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
I highly recommend it. It's a good book if you like historical fiction. Another good book to read. Got a couple of notes here. Please join me for a moment of prayer for those in the path of Harvey and in the path of Irma, and it's heading to Florida. God bless, and just watch over them. Thank you. On the 9th of September, local Lions clubs are holding a comedy night at the Groton Lodge of Elks. Tickets are $20. Proceeds will be used for the needy and homeless in New London County, and you can contact me for further information. I believe most of the tickets are sold out, but we still take donations. And with the economy the way it is, there's more and more people out there. And these are people who need help, and they don't choose to live like that. They've just been stuck in a place. Friday, the 8th of August, that's just tomorrow, is fish fry time, 8th of September, what am I saying? Fish fry time at the Park Duck VFW. Be sure to get over there for a great dinner. Also, you can check my Facebook page for books and things, and with Tom for updates. And special thank you to the Franks at SEC TV for helping me host this show. If you like the show, we need money. We operate on donations because we don't make anything. I don't make anything. I wish I could. But anyway, if you like our shows and can afford a couple of bucks, we'd appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Email me at santostom@comcast.net, and I'll be happy to email you back. And thanks for watching. You should be reading, and it's fall. It's starting to get a little cool at night. You can cuddle up with a good book on the cold nights. See you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.